Whistles going all over in the Premier League. City are in fourth now, above Chelsea by a point. They have won here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 1-0. Well, let's go back to the studio, and I'm sure that Shaun Wright-Phillips and Curle will have their views on it, but also Natalie too, because of course she's certainly been a qualified referee in her time. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much to Alistair Mann and to Michael Brown for the excellent commentary today. So as you can see, looking at the league table there, City up into fourth, so jumping over Chelsea into 47 points now for City. Forest still above us on 48 points. They have drawn, or were drawing with Arsenal. It is full time, so they have drawn 0-0 with Arsenal this evening. Liverpool still beating Newcastle 1-0 as well. So City up into fourth, and there is Erling Haaland, who is applauding the away fans tonight. Incredible support from the Blues, as always, and Pep Guardiola there looking like a happy man. I'm joined in the studio still by Curle and by Shaun Wright-Phillips. Right, don't get onto it yet, Shaun, but how are you feeling?
Relieved. I think the lads, especially in the first half, played really, really well, and in the end it turned out that they made very hard work of a game that they could have been 3 or 4-0 up coming into the half-time. But you expect Spurs to have a good portion of the game where they do what Spurs always do, and today we managed to propel it all, and Ederson had to pull off some great saves, and the defenders had to defend really, really well to stop it also.
You can see both the City and the Spurs players, and both Ange and Pep still on the pitch, applauding the fans all around, because it certainly was a great game for both. Both teams had good spells, both teams defended hard, both teams missed chances.
The first half, yeah, you'd have to say City dominated and looked more than comfortable. I think everybody's, I wouldn't say disappointed, but you knew that Spurs had to be better in the second half, and they were. Is that down to their play or our play? That'll be down to the coaches to decide. But again, it's definitely a game of two halves.
Right, we're going to head over now back to FG and Michael Brown, who are pitch side at the London Stadium.
Yes, full time from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Manchester City with an away win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A clean sheet, but controversy at the end as Erling Haaland had a goal disallowed.
Yeah, he did have a goal disallowed. I mean, we were stood here waiting, weren't we? Probably took 3 or 4 minutes to make that decision, but ultimately it didn't really matter, did it? You know, they come to the outcome they did. We can talk all day about it, but it was about the second half performance, about being gutsy, about not conceding, about being hard to beat. We didn't really talk too much about creativity and chances. We did all that in the first half. 2 ways to win a game. Job done. It was a really good away performance. It was solid and it was hard.
Very good defensive performance from Man City, but chances missed in the second half from Spurs.
I know. The thing is, it was a game of two halves. I thought in the first half, Manchester City were brilliant. Second half, we turned that screw, but we just didn't have that clinical edge. In the final third, when it really mattered, we couldn't put the ball away. I thought Manchester City played well. They defended resolutely, defended as a unit. For me, I thought it was a great game. There were so many chapters to it. Annoying that we didn't get the goal, but I enjoyed the spectacle. It was a good game.
Now, the noise you can hear is from our away supporters, Brownie. We're so lucky to watch them every week and listen to them every week. It's a Wednesday evening. There's not many ways to get home. How much credit do these guys deserve?
Yeah, a lot of credit. I mean, these fans have been amazing for many years, and we know that about this away following. We've had it hard recently, haven't we, on our travels and certain results. There's the manager over, high-fiving everybody, Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, you know, sending the best, and finally we get a real positive away result in London as well. But it was mixed performances. A really good first half. We talked about it could have been put out of sight, but Spurs tested us. And let's not forget, we changed the team with considerable numbers who haven't seen. The manager will really like this performance today because of all of the things I highlighted just before.
And there's always a lot of noise about Pep Guardiola, especially when the team aren't winning. But I mean, you can see it from even a Spurs perspective here, how much that group of fans, how much they love him and adore him.
Oh, listen, you guys are, in terms of the fan base, amazing. Like, from minute 1 to minute 97, you lot were loud, you were in the game, you were cheering on your boys, and look at them now giving the players a standing ovation. Yeah, the atmosphere, obviously I'm here at every home game, and this is probably one of the loudest fan bases I've seen, so credit to the boys. It's a long journey and they're here to the end.
Yeah, and it's so nice to get an away win for us here on a Wednesday night. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll see you again soon. And Brownie, thank you as always too. We're going to head back to the studio, a very happy studio.
Thank you so much to FG, to Michael Brown, and big up Patrick there. Loving Patrick's input tonight onto the show as well. I think he might be a secret blue there, you know. You can see the Premier League table ahead of us there. We are sitting in fourth now. We've jumped Chelsea with this victory tonight, and interestingly, as we were just actually saying to each other in the studio, City's next Premier League game is of course against Nottingham Forest. That is away, and as you can see, 1 point separates us, so that is going to be a huge game, the 8th of March, that, because of course between now and then it is FA Cup weekend. As it stands, Liverpool are still leading Newcastle. There is half an hour left to go in that game, so that is the Premier League table as it stands this evening. City up into fourth. Hooray! Gents, we heard from the London, I keep calling it the London Stadium. They're in London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The fans were going crazy there. I mean, because that is a big victory for City tonight.
Yeah, I think it's massive on all fronts. I think for the players' confidence, the morale. I think I was just saying to Keith before, going into the Plymouth game, they win that game, they're starting to build a bit of momentum and that winning habit feeling back again. And I think that's what they need into the run-up to the back end of the season. So to come away from there, I know it was tough in the second half, but with 1-0 and a clean sheet, and you can name a lot of players on that pitch that actually played well, is very, very positive.
Yeah, and I know that before the game, a lot of people were suggesting, and me myself, that it would be a high-scoring game. And we talked, and you especially, the defender in the room, about wanting a clean sheet, Keith, and you got one tonight. How impressed are you with the defence?
Yeah, very much so. I think first off, again, that will have a positive effect on the changing room. Not only the first half performance, because it was a dominant attacking display of causing Tottenham lots of problems. Second half, that clean sheet, very much needed as well. And it shows the extra mileage that's needed as a defender, because you've got to get there. And again, I think 0-0 or taking a clean sheet away, very pleasing.
In terms of that second half, interestingly, after 70 minutes in that second half, Spurs had 7 chances to City's 3. Loads of chances for Spurs in that second half. But in the first half, City had 7 chances to Spurs' 2. So as you said before, Keith, in terms of the chances, it really was a game of two halves. And in that first half, Spurs really rode their luck. And in the second half, City really rode the luck, and City had a few misses as well. In that second half, it reversed, and City were really holding out and defending at points.
Yeah, I think in the first half, you would have said, if you look at the two managers, Pep would have been more than happy after the first half, and Andrew would have been... he'd have been thinking, how are we only 1-0 down? Or thankfully, we're only 1-0 down. We still got a chance, because the game should have been out of sight. Should have been 3-0 to City, and it's a completely different game. I don't even think he puts the subs on. At 1-0, you know that Tottenham have always got an opportunity. They're going to create chances. The save by Edison, excellent when needed. But some of the defenders, slight concern, we talked about it during the game, was that they had too many first contacts from set pieces, because on another day that can cause you problems.
I wrote in my note as well, a Kusanov tackle again that we were all cooing over, Shaun.
For me, he's my man of the match. I thought he defended very maturely. Yeah. He almost looked like one of the more experienced heads on that pitch for somebody, as we said, that can't speak a word of English, and that's why I said he's almost like the silent assassin. I think they broke late on in the game as well. He come across and went past 3 of our players because he knew he could get there first, which gave our players time to kind of go back into the centre. So for me, he was superb today again.
It was that old school tackle as well, Keith. Remember, he just went through, didn't he? Just went through the ball, and it was into the stands. And I love it because it's one of those tackles where it gets you off your seat, it gets you cheering for it. I love them.
It was one of we said in the build up to the game when we were saying when we were talking about him, he likes defending and he likes those defensive situations, and he's a committed player. And if he's going for a challenge, that's it. He's going to go for that challenge, no ifs and ands.
I'm very much enjoying that Diaz-Kusanov partnership as well. I could see that really developing.
Yeah, again, 2 players that I think reliable, consistent, dependable. And if you've got that in your name as a defender, you're doing well.
Keith dependable? Curle. We've also got to give a big shout out to Edison tonight as well. You mentioned this before, but he made a couple of big saves today, Shaun.
Yeah, he does. And for me, it looked like him back to his best in many ways. I think the saves he had to make were a lot of reaction saves. He needed to be quick. He always almost saw the ball late every time, and he did well in them. The one that worried me is where it came back into the middle of the goal, but then Ruben was luckily alert enough to get rid of the ball. But in terms of that, that's what you need when you're 0-0 and you don't always make that tackle, and they get a little bit of luck. You need to be able to rely on the big man, and they did, and it paid off.
Now, there is something else to talk about, of course, because just with a couple of minutes to go, City thought they had scored their second goal of the evening, another goal for Erling Haaland. But then, after what felt like 3 hours, VAR eventually ruled that they didn't have conclusive evidence that it was not a handball. So I have been trying to piece together what I think happened, and I think that the referee disallowed the goal on the pitch. And then VAR looked at it and then could not find conclusive evidence that it was not handball. Of course, we know that VAR is looking for clear and obvious errors in the referee's decisions, and I think that is why they didn't overturn the referee, because, well, Keith, we can't work out how it's not obvious that it was not a handball.
I must admit, I didn't think that the referee disallowed it on the pitch.
Neither did I.
With the celebrations, I didn't hear a whistle, because I think you would have seen by the players' reaction, if the referee had blown for a free kick, the players would have reacted quicker. I think they didn't, and that's why we were saying, well, VAR can't if VAR can't make a decision, it should be you go with the on-field decision, which we thought was going to be a goal.
It's just all very confusing, as it often is with this handball law that is confusing in itself, Shaun. Obviously, we heard Ali talking on the commentary about the shirt and the shirt sleeve line and the shoulder, but for me, that just clearly looks like it's his chest and his arm, armpit, shoulder.
It don't look like it's even touching it.
No.
To be honest,
it's in the defender's hand.
So if they're saying it doesn't look like a handball, surely they should say, but maybe you should come and have a look at this, because it could be a penalty anyway, because it's touching the Spurs players.
It's almost like he's pushing it onto Haaland's body.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So there's 2 points there. I feel like they've only focused on did Haaland or didn't Haaland handball it, rather than seeing what the Spurs players have done, because Archie Gray clearly throws his elbow at the ball before that incident. So I don't know, as you know, I'm not a massive fan of VAR anyway, but it serves its purpose sometimes. But there, I don't know. I'm not. For me, that's a goal.
Do them what I tell you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it didn't go on to punish us. I mean, Spurs went right up after it and had that chance that went over the bar. Thankfully, my heart was in my mouth, you can imagine. But I felt like, City deserved a second. I think 2-0 would have been a fair result for City over the game. I wanted Erling to get that extra goal. So it's frustrating, but we walked away with the 3 points.
Take the 3 points. Gone down to London, professional. Played well overall, I would say, even though it was a game of two halves. Attacking aspects, we was good, and when we needed to defend, we defended really well. And we've walked away with 3 points on to the weekend now.
Yeah.
You're right. No, you are right. I need to look at the positives, absolutely. I was just trying to look to see the Premier League Match Centre that they have on Twitter, where they give the explanations for the VAR decisions, but there's nothing up on that yet that I can see. So we'll...
Archie Gray, look, throwing his elbow at it.
It's Archie Gray's on that.
But again, like Alistair was saying, that's not even handball anyway.
I'm so confused. The facials are great, though, from Erling. They are great, Erling's facials.
Oh, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, no.
In the next couple of days, or even, so it is no conclusive evidence to overturn, which does mean that the referee disallowed it on the pitch.
They didn't blow his whistle.
Be interesting. So on one of the cameras, we'll catch the referee's reaction when Haaland's put the ball in the net. Be interesting to see if he has immediately disallowed it for a handball, or even where he was in the build-up to it. Would he have been able to see?
There's no way he can see that.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Not a chance.
I don't know where he was.
Anyway, we got the 3 points.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, we got the 3 points. So thankfully, we're not talking about a decision that's gone against us in any way. But it is frustrating. I would like Erling to have an extra goal. he deserved it. Because, by the way, if we just talk about that as well, it was beautiful by Erling. The way the close play was.
He manoeuvred it so well. Yeah. So well.
And it's frustrating that everyone's not going to see that goal and talk about that goal. We got 3 points.
Yes.
We got 3 points.
The first half was a lot to talk about, lots of positives.
And so, as we mentioned, City's next Premier League game will be against Nottingham Forest, the team who currently sit 1 point ahead of us in the league. That is on the 8th of March. But of course, between now and then, we have an FA Cup weekend to look forward to. And I really am looking forward to it. Love the FA Cup. And I love the fact that all of the FA Cup games for this season, for the first time, are being, or back on back, all the games are being played over weekends. So it is a weekend of FA Cup football, and I cannot wait. So we take on Plymouth Argyle. It is a 5:45 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. So Plymouth Argyle, who of course beat Liverpool in the last round, they are in the Championship. They're now sitting third bottom. Interestingly, they were bottom, but of course they got a new manager. They've been doing well, and they're now up to third from bottom. But they are in a good period. They drew their last game, the last 2 games. They're creeping up. They're creeping up the table. And of course, they beat Liverpool in the last round. So I'm sure they'll come into this game, Keith, with lots of hope.
Yeah, well, it's the beauty of the FA Cup, isn't it? A lot of people would say that, this will be their final. After beating Liverpool, the reward will be a performance at the Etihad. Personally, I think it's the end of their journey, but and they've got bigger things to concentrate on this season as well. Staying in the Championship will be no mean feat as it is.
So since they beat Liverpool, they then went on to thump Millwall 5-1. They were beaten by Blackburn, and then they drew with Luton and drew with Cardiff. But like Keith says, Championship survival has got to be the key for Plymouth. Currently sitting third from bottom, so just inside that relegation zone, 3 points off Hull, who are just ahead of them. A home game, though, in the FA Cup, Saturday night, is going to be a brilliant occasion, Shaun.
Always is. FA Cup is always a special competition that everybody enjoys, and also looking for that David and Goliath moment. But I think that David and Goliath moment is gone now. I think they've had that, and like Keith said, that it may be the end of that journey. If we see City play the way they played in that first half, it could be. They need to be careful. Put it that way.
And there is some Plymouth connection in your family, I believe.
Yeah, there is.
Tell us.
Well, my brother played there, didn't he? I think it was after Southampton. Yeah, if I'm correct, I think after Southampton he went down to Plymouth. He did actually really, really well there in terms of, for a striker, he played 32 games, 17 goals he scored, so a goal every other game. And then after that he moved on to Charlton, but he said he really had a fun time down there. He enjoyed it.
Was Peter Reid's manager?
I think so at a point, yes, Reedy, I think he was.
So of course, Peter Reid, former City.
Would have been a nightmare for him, because I know what Reedy's like.
We've had him on Matchday Live. He's a brilliant Matchday Live guest. He doesn't stop chatting. Oh, he's on this weekend. Andy Morrison and Peter Reid will be on Matchday Live with you on Saturday for the game. A lovely connection there. In terms of City, no midweek game for City next week. Next one will be the 8th. Are you expecting to see a similar team as to what we saw this evening, Keith?
I think Foden will play. I think Silva will play. I think Gundogan will play. Just to keep them topped up as well with competitive minutes.
Do you think it'll be any appearances from any of the younger academy players that we've perhaps seen playing occasionally and been on the fringes this year?
Might be on the bench.
I would have said yeah before, but I think now, with it being just the FA Cup and the Premier League we're playing for, we've got enough time to rest and recover. And not that we don't ever want to win it, but we want to make sure we try and get to the final of the FA Cup and try and bring that home, and obviously focus on finishing Champions League places as well. So I think there's not really that much of a need to necessarily play the younger players, because we have enough young players that play in the first team anyway to be able to rotate, and plus you've got the likes of Kevin's that's going to get minutes, as well as the players that Keith said. But I think he would like to see a little bit of stability in the team, because he hasn't had a chance to have that all season in terms of injuries and people not being ready, match fit. So for the first time, you can actually kind of start seeing a team that you know is going to play more regularly, rather than him having to pull and change people to protect him.
It's a real opportunity for City as well. I mean, into the 5th round already, obviously a home tie in the 5th round. You'll then have the 6th round, and then obviously after that, it's a trip back to Wembley for the semi-final, the Etihad South. A lot of the big teams, of course, have already been knocked out at this point. So looking at the fixtures, the FA Cup starts Friday night with Villa taking on Cardiff. Then on Saturday, other Premier League teams that are still in. So Palace are playing Millwall, Preston play Burnley, which is a really interesting game in itself. It means somebody from the Championship is going to be into the next round. Bournemouth, Wolves, and of us and Plymouth. Sunday, Newcastle, Brighton, one of them's out. United and Fulham, one of them's out. So, and then Monday night, the last one, Forest versus Ipswich, obviously another Premier League team out there. So it really is already looking like a competition where we've got a really good chance to go deep into it, Keith.
I think the important thing with the FA Cup is you look at that fixture. You don't look beyond it, because it's got a habit of slapping you in the face, the FA Cup.
Are you talking from personal experience here, Keith?
Oh yeah, focus on Plymouth. It's their FA Cup. Show them the respect that they deserve.
Which we always do, which is one of the things I'm always extra proud about us. We always show the teams and the cup competitions
very much so.
the respect that they deserve, which obviously, because we've been in the FA Cup final for the last 2 years as well. And I don't know about you, Shaun, but I'd love another trip to Wembley. I'm only thinking about Plymouth, Keith. But in the back of my mind, Shaun, there's always a trip to Wembley.
It's been a while, hasn't it? It feels like it has anyway.
Absolutely. So very much looking forward to that game. So that is Saturday, 5:45 kickoff. City taking on Plymouth Argyle, and Matchday Live will be with you as always from 4:30. Chris Latcham will be with you, Peter Reid and Andy Morrison. So cannot wait for that. A nice full weekend of FA Cup action. So after that, it's Nottingham Forest in the Premier League the week after. So it's a busy time. It's a busy time as always. So, gents, before we go today, what is your number one positive? What is the number one standout thing that you're going to take from tonight, Keith?
First half performance. It looked free-flowing, effortless and attacking.
Oh, yes, I like that. Shaun?
Today, defence. I know I'm an attacker, but see Kosanov and Diaz, where they played together. Thought Nunes did pretty well considering the wingers he was coming up against, and Josko is just Josko. He always plays.
So hold on,
brilliantly.
The attacker went for the defenders, the defender went for the
Yeah, I was very impressed with our defensive today and our goalkeeper.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you very much for being here as always.
Pleasure as always.
Shawnee, thank you very much for being here.
See you in a year.
No, come back before then. Oi. Thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live this evening. Thanks to FG, to Michael Brown, to Patrick, of course to Ali Man as well. Thank you very much. We'll see you all on Saturday, where we'll look forward to a big FA Cup weekend. We're going to finish the show tonight with tonight's goal scorer. Should have been 2. It's Erling Haaland.
Erling, great to have you back and great to have you scoring again, and a really good win tonight.
Yeah, important win, and happy to be back, and yeah, good to be back.
So can you clear it up? You got 1 goal tonight. Should it have been 2?
Yeah, should have been 2, definitely. I think it was a big mistake to disallow it, but that's what happens. In the end, we win, and that's the important thing.
But you did get that all-important goal, and in the first half we created a lot of chances. You must be really happy with that first half performance.
Yeah, we should have. I think we should have scored more goals, and I think we should have finished the game. But this is what happens. In the end, it's a difficult game, but we managed to win, and that's really important.
And that defence will be delighted to keep a clean sheet. That is so important tonight.
Yeah, of course. So clean sheet and to win the game is amazing. So we're all happy.
And just a word on Ederson. I mean, there's something about that end at Tottenham Hotspur. Our goalkeepers are unbeatable.
Yeah, Ederson and also Stefan last year was ridiculous. So important saves, and that's what we need. We need match winners. In my end and also in their end, so yeah, fantastic.
And just finally, obviously been a bit frustrating last week or so. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. Of course, been tough last weeks, but that's life. You have to look forward. You have to keep going, and you have to stay positive because we can still manage to do things.
Well done tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
All you've ever been taught to do is to be a footballer.
Steph Houghton has announced she will retire from football.
When it's gone, you know, you're never going to feel them feelings again.
far does your identity get you when the thing that you did for so long isn't the thing you can do anymore?
Suddenly your career changes literally overnight, and I was fearful.
Whatever you do in life, you'll get nothing like scoring a last-minute winner.
Hopefully I can find that happiness in whatever the next chapter is.
Fernandinho, realmente você tem uma lesão grave.
Pensar certinho para ver qual que é a melhor decisão a se tomar, então.
Sozinho ninguém consegue porra nenhuma. A gente vai conseguir juntos. Todo mundo junto.
I think for some, they love the game so much that they'll do anything they can to be part of it for as long as possible.
Football is a bubble. You'll finish this bubble, you will be proud about what you do, but you have another life.
It's one of the best decisions I made.
Why not be able to push yourself as much as you can?
Buenos días, Tiki. ¿Vamos a ver pronto dirigiendo o no?
Si aún te gusta, no lo dejes.
E o que você mais sente falta no futebol?
There's no guarantees in football.
The problem is the schedule.
We never know what's going to happen today, tomorrow.
Without doubt, one of the best moments was that moment when I knew I wasn't going to play again.
O Fernandinho vai continuar a jogar.